just to kick off, like a bit of your background, the business that you owned, kind of where you were at, what you were doing, and I guess like the felt like a bit of a fork in the road. Like you needed to figure out
Absolutely, it
what you wanted
was.
to do next. Yeah.
Yeah, serendipitous is the word that I would use for the for our first interaction, Alex. So yeah, I had moved to Bali in 2012 to start Bali Bodyboarding, which was a surf camp which became a surf camp for bodyboarders. So it was quite a unique little niche in the giant microcosm sort of environment that is the surf travel world. My original plan had been to move there and open a bodyboard shop, but you need capital for that, and I didn't have any. But I'd been working in the surf travel industry for the previous 10 years, so I had a pretty good foundation. I had a good foundation in that. I had some customers, some contacts from my previous job who were customers that were keen to come and explore what I was doing. And so, yeah, I moved to Bali with my bodyboard bag and started from there. And then, yeah, the business went through a few different iterations where I had a surf school as well, and I partnered with Ripco, and then I kind of let that partnership go in order to focus all my energy on Bali bodyboarding. And then, yeah, it was developing year on year. We had our own villa, we had a little retail area, lots and lots of return customers, which was one of the most rewarding things. We had about a 60-70% return rate, which is great. Like that means that you're doing the right thing if you've got people coming
Hmm.
back.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, I'd hit a stage in my personal life where my wife and I was starting to look to moving back to Australia. And I built this business that I didn't want to be trying to run from Australia. And I also hadn't built it in a manner that it was packaged up and ready to pass on to someone else. And yeah, it was the kind of business where I'm getting lots of different people through the door, and everyone has advice. And a lot of the time, it's not the right advice. And you've got a lot of people who are not a lot, but there's a proportion of people who are life coaches and and that kind of ilk that don't have any chops in the business world. Like they haven't got a body of work behind them they can point to and go, look, you should listen to me because I've done this. Um, and I was, without knowing it, I had been looking for a coach or someone that could kind of mentor me through this next stage. And yeah, lo and behold, was it 2018, Alex?
Must have been. I did a I think it started with a day trip. You took me
Yeah,
out to 4 foot Padang Padang, which I was
that's it. It was
wildly underqualified to surf.
no, you're not though. So yeah, it was 20, I think it was 2018, and yeah, yeah, you got in the van to come and do a day trip with us, and we got chatting, and I was like, this is a very interesting guy. And then yeah, you said that you were a business coach, and I was like, another one. Um, but I
Honest,
went
mate.
away
Fair,
and I
fair.
googled you, and I was like, "Oh man, this guy's done some stuff." And yeah, sort of our relationship kind of built on that. So I'm extremely grateful for that first interaction for sure.
I just remember one particular convo, which was at a cafe just around the corner from
Okay.
where the HQ was. I would never really know where these types of convos are going to go because I think the gist of it was let's sit down and like we'll talk through some of the like what you're thinking about your business, what you could
Mm.
do with it, what your options are. What do you remember of that chat? Like what comes to mind when you think of it?
Two things. First was even when we arranged that conversation, it made my I wanted to be prepared for it. So it made me like click into gear. Whoa, Aiden, what do you want? Like, what are you actually working towards here? So I kind of I went into that chat with, all right, in 5 years' time, I want to be here. And that 5 years' time was we'd like to move to Australia, and we would like to sell Bali Bodyboarding. So yeah, it was kind of good in that just even that first interaction would made me plan. Whereas before, everything I'd been planning for was about on a year on basis. Like I've got an on season, got an off season where I prepare everything, and then I'm back on again, and I'm just kind of on that hamster wheel. So yeah, that was the first thing um, that I remember from that conversation, and then yeah, we just kind of worked through you establishing you sort of guiding me through. All right, what is it that you've actually got to sell? Which is like for my kind of business was the most difficult thing, is because I was so part of the business. It's like, how are you going to pass that on to, how are you going to package that up and put a number on it, and then give that to, and then sell that on to someone else. So yeah, that was the big part of that. And yeah, we kind of worked through what the assets were, and the IP, and all of those things.
I remember asking you, I think it was about like, what's your email list situation like, or something along those lines. And you kind of, oh, what did you have? You had like a bunch of different stuff here, there, and everywhere. And I'm like, if you just consolidate that, you just bring it into a nice
Yep.
organized little thing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Setting up that database, and it actually took COVID to, and me being locked into a hotel room for 2 weeks, to going like that was my one focus for that 2 weeks whilst I was in quarantine. Was I went through every single email that I'd ever sent in the previous 8 or 9 years of Bali bodyboarding. I pulled it all out and put it into a database and formed it all up. And then it was like, all right, fantastic. That is like one of the assets that I can sell on. Yeah. So that was it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a great first one. The other thing I was struggling with at the time was um, I had a business partner who is a fantastic coach, fantastic with people, one of the in the pantheon of bodyboarding greats. Um, but he had a social media presence, but it wasn't being optimized. And you
That's
just looked at
right.
me straight
That's
away,
right.
dead in the eye, and went, "Why are you not just operating it for him then?" And I went, "Oh yeah." And then all it took was like one conversation. He was happy to give me the login, and suddenly, well, that took our actual sales platform to the next level. Yeah.
Had the convo, got some clarity around like what it was that you had to sell. Um, how did you proceed with that? Like, what was the process for you in like packaging that up, thinking through how to sell it? What happened after that initial convo?
Yeah, so I took those bits of advice, and then yeah, as a one man band essentially for doing the back end of that whole business, it meant that I had something to work towards. So yeah, creating that database. I also started to diversify my platforms a little bit. So I started developing a bigger presence on YouTube, just so that I kind of wasn't all in on Facebook and Instagram at the time. YouTube was great, evergreen content. I could sort of develop how tos, some longer form videos, things that could be embedded into the website so that they kind of helped with our SEO and that kind of thing. And that also gave me another handle that when I'm going to sell this business, I can point towards, you've also got these assets as well. It's not just all those eggs in the one basket. So it was, yeah, trying to, and yeah, so that was the way. It just changed my thinking to, all right, I'm on this 1 year hamster wheel to like, all right, I'm on a 5 year kind of plan towards getting out of this. Um, yeah, it was more of a mindset shift.
Mm, okay. And I think if I recall from my DMs just the other day, like just recently, you completed, like you finished the sale. The sale is
Yeah.
done and dusted.
Yep.
Payments are done. Everything's squared away. So I guess my question to you is like, what did that feel like? Like, how did you feel post kind of letting that go? Because that was like a decade of your life, right?
Yeah, for sure. I feel really good about it. I feel really positive about it. There's no seller's remorse or anything like that. It was such a wonderful lifestyle and a wonderful way to spend my 30s, and I learned so much, and I'm really grateful for it. But yeah, it did come as a huge relief because post COVID, I was trying to run the business from Australia remotely, and anyone who's in business knows how hard it, especially with that kind of a business where it's very hands on, is when you've got a flight between you and actually being able to solve a problem yourself is really hard. So in that sense, I was so relieved that I wasn't having to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and jump online and work for 2 hours before going to my normal job that I was using in order to keep that one running. So yeah, it was so nice to have that kind of really positive result at the end, and to be able to have something that I can point to and say, yeah, I built that, and someone and other people valued it so much that they bought it off me. So
That's
yeah,
huge. And we were saying before, like it's the gauntlet that you run as a founder, business owner,
mm,
entrepreneur, whatever you want to call yourself. Like it is so hard to start something. It is so
yeah,
hard to make something actually live and breathe and grow. And then it's like
yeah.
I think even exponentially harder to sell it. So dude, like huge congrats.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I I fondly look back on my experience at Bali bodyboarding as, you know, a customer and a coach in, you know, those different hats. And I was like super proud to just be involved. Like I think, you know, you gave so much of yourself into that. And that's just like, it says something about your character as well, for sure. Because it's like anything in the body. If anyone doesn't understand, like bodyboarding is like the rollerblading of the ocean. Like the people that love it are hardcore.
Yeah,
It's not the coolest thing to do, but if you get it and you get the bug, you're just going to love it.
yeah.
But commercially, it's a difficult field. So you've kind of, in some ways, kind of done the impossible with that, which is, you know, hats off to you, dude. Huge result. Closing question, I guess, is like if someone was considering, you know, bringing me on board as a coach, working with me specifically, had some reservations or hesitations about doing that, what would you tell them? Like they're kind of on the fence. They hear business coach, they go, "Oh shit, here we go, another one of these clowns."
Yeah.
You know, what would you say to them?
Oh, Alex, I'm your biggest fanboy, honestly. I'd push him off the fence onto your side. I don't know if that analogy works. But yeah, I 100% encourage you to look up Alex and definitely have at least that first initial conversation, because he has this wonderful way of, well, you have this wonderful way. I'm talking about you to you, to of not downplaying challenges, um, and which when you're an entrepreneur or a founder and you're in the thick of it, it feels like your whole world's crashing, um, and the last thing you want is someone to go, oh yeah, don't worry about that. Alex has this wonderful way of like understanding where you're coming from and then helping guide you to the solution that works for you. Because being a founder or an entrepreneur, your situation is so unique to you, that there's no cookie cutter sort of cure or remedy to what you're going through. It's got to come from you, and Alex is the guide that will help guide you to that.
Appreciate it, man. That's
No worries. That was 100% authentic, so it's very easy to